Alright, so this is the latest and greatest iPhone 15. And this is my 5-year-old iPhone XR. And the only reason that I can tell these two apart is because the 15 has an extra camera on the back. I'm Ollie FS, and this is the iPhone 15 roast. Let's start off with the packaging. I mean, when Apple first introduced these silky smooth packages, it blew everything else out of the water. But just like their phone, they've decided to stick with the exact same packaging for the last 10 years. Could be worse, I guess. You could be buying a Samsung. Anyway, open it up. And we've got all the stuff that nobody uses or reads. And this little pin that goes missing after exactly 0.5 seconds. Seriously, where are you supposed to store these little pins? I mean, are you supposed to keep the box forever, or who knows? Have you ever wondered why you can't just eject this SIM tray with a button instead? I mean, it's like they make it ridiculously difficult to actually change these things if you don't have that pin. They really don't want you to open these things, but that's for another day. Now for the legendary peel that everybody loves. That's me, the killer of dreams. So first of all, let's take a look at the build. Yep, that's an iPhone. It's got a nice black finish, which on their website they actually do call black, instead of something pretentious like space UFO metal titanium, like the MacBook lineup. But unless you plan on never owning a case, you have to hold it with gloves at all times, or else you'll get these nice little fingerprints around the rim, which nobody wants. It has a new PVD coating, which means if you do end up scratching one of the darker models, it will show up as the titanium beneath is light. You know, with the amount of people who don't put covers on their phones, I'm pretty unimpressed that Apple or pretty much any other industry giant hasn't just made a completely scratch resistant or crack proof, pretty much unbreakable phone, even if it contains plastic parts. I mean, would consumers really care that much? I mean, I'm not really shocked, because this is Apple's way of kind of nudging you towards upgrading every year. Classic. I gotta say, the best thing about the design this year is obviously USB-C. I'm not even kidding about this one. I can finally use a single cable for most of my devices. The lightning cable was pretty trash anyway. It was always breaking and slightly more difficult to insert. The one upgrade that they impressed me with, and it's not even their innovation. It's also pretty neat that you can charge your AirPods with your phone now, if they do run out. So I gotta give credit where credit's due. There is a nice feel to the phone. It's got a boxy look, just like the previous 3 generations. But if you close your eyes and hold it, you still won't be able to distinguish it from any other flagship phone right now. Apart from maybe the ROG phones, they're pretty wild. What about if Apple added like a bezeled logo to the back, so that you can never forget what you're holding at all times, even if you can't see? Speaking of bezels, the one around the display seem quite thin. They're not all the way to the edge, but maybe one day. A man can dream. Right, so let's talk about the display. So compared to my old iPhone XR, I can safely say that there is a notable difference between the displays. $900 worth of difference, not so sure about. It has an OLED screen at 1000 nits of brightness and 2000 at peak brightness, so even glare won't stop you from doom scrolling. And it's also got what Apple has called the dynamic island. When I first heard about this, I was in shock at just how innovative of a feature this was. In case you can't tell, I'm joking. They essentially took a flaw in the design, which is the pill at the top of the phone, and turned it into a feature. Android phones for years have practically had no pill at the top, with just a tiny camera cutout. But again, how else would you be able to differentiate between any other phone? This generation still also only has 60 Hz. Don't know if you can tell. No? Yeah, me neither. And considering its competitors have had 120 Hz display for the last 5 years now, it's a little insulting, to be honest. I mean, most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyway, but I would be able to sleep a whole lot better at night knowing that my phone has the same sweet 120 Hz refresh rate as every other phone out there. Then I could finally still not game on my phone. So the iPhone 15 this year has a 48 megapixel camera. I know that most of you probably don't know what this means or care, nor should you. You want to know, does the thing take pretty pictures or not? Let's find out. To be fair, they're pretty good. You can judge for yourself. I know that the upgrades they make to the cameras are the sole reason a lot of the customer base buy an upgrade each year. But I'd say if you have had any of the previous 3 generations, you likely don't need to upgrade if that is the sole purpose that you're buying the iPhone 15. TikTok and Instagram still compress the hell out of any photos that you take anyway, and videos. Not to mention X. You might as well be taking photos on a potato. Is this a roast of X? maybe next. There are also a ton of camera settings that you can customize now. If you are into that sort of who am I kidding? Nobody's into that. Nobody adjusts these settings. You want a good old point and shoot, and I don't blame you. The phone does take amazing pictures, and you can even make it take some photos by clicking the new action button. Where is that action button? Isn't that the power button? Again, a feature that nobody really asked for, but gimmicky enough to warrant an upgrade, I guess. So if you want to buy one of these, I gotta be honest, if you already own an iPhone in the last 3 to 4 years, I personally wouldn't bother. You can simply delete more photos and clear up that storage. You don't need a new phone for that. If you've got an old phone and you've got money to throw around and do want a minor camera upgrade, minuscule design improvements, USB-C charging, and be a walking status symbol, then just buy an Android. I'm just joking. Then yeah, get one quick before the next lineup drops in a few months with even thinner bezels, if you can believe that. Oh, and comment down below what you want to see roasted next. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.